Jesus, the chief cornerstone. Matthew 16, verse 18. And I say also unto thee, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Jesus, the chief cornerstone. Jesus, the chief cornerstone.
You go strolling through the crowd like Peter Laura contemplating a crime. She comes out of the sun in a silk dress, running like a watercolor in the rain.
Matthew 16:13-19. Some people have mistakenly interpreted this passage to say that Peter was the foundation on which Christ would build his church. However, that would violate many scriptures that refer to Jesus as the chief cornerstone. Jesus, the chief cornerstone.
In the year of the cat,
Jesus, the chief cornerstone.
she doesn't give you time for questions as she locks up your arm in hers, and you follow till your sense of which direction completely disappears. By the blue tiled wall near the market stalls, there's a hidden door.
Ephesians 2 verse 20 does mention the apostles as being part of the foundation stones of Christ's church, but it doesn't single Peter out above any of the other apostles. This same scripture once again mentions Jesus as the chief cornerstone. Jesus, the chief cornerstone.
While she looks at you so coolly, and her eyes shine like the moon in the sea. She comes in incense and patchouli, so you take her.
Jesus, the chief cornerstone.
The year of the cat.
There are two different Greek words used for Peter and rock, respectively, in verse 18. The word used for Peter means rock, but signifies a piece of rock, like a pebble. In contrast, the word translated as rock signifies a massive rock, which certainly refers to Jesus, the chief cornerstone. Some have suggested that the foundation rock referred to was confession that Peter made, saying that Jesus was the Christ, the Son of the living God. Matthew 16, verse 16. Although it is true that to enter God's kingdom, we do have to confess that Jesus is Lord. Romans 10, verses 9-10. In light of the Old Testament prophecies and New Testament references to Jesus being the chief cornerstone, this passage of Scripture must be referring directly to Jesus as the rock upon which he will build his church. Jesus, the chief cornerstone.
On the bus and the tourists are gone, and you've thrown away your choice and lost your ticket, so you have to stay on. But the drumbeat strains of the night remain in the rhythm of the newborn day. You know, sometime you're bound
Jesus,
to leave
the
her,
chief cornerstone.
but now you're gonna stay in the year of the cat. Year of the cat.
one of the greatest differences between the New Testament believer and the Old Testament believer is the fact that New Testament saints are the temple of God. God himself actually indwells us. God does not dwell in a building made by man's hands. He now lives in the hearts of those who make Jesus their Lord. Romans 10 verse 9. The cornerstone of our lives in God must be an ever-increasing revelation of the Son. If we had a real understanding of the reality of Christ in us, Colossians 1 verse 27, it would drastically change our attitudes, emotions, and actions. Jesus, the chief cornerstone.